What up, what up? Zach Bradshaw, long-winded guy. What up, Tucker, and whoever else is going to watch this video. So, yesterday I spoke about how you need to learn how to sell so that you can sell tops and buy back lower. And so I just want to show you, uh, how that worked out for me. So, yesterday, this dip right here, this big candle set in a range that basically said, okay, for the next whatever time period, Bitcoin is going to operate between, let's say here, and you see that lines up with other points, and maybe you can make it a little zone in here, something like that. Um, and then at the top range up here, or maybe you'd say here. And maybe you'd probably use both of those levels just to be safe. And you see it's quickly moved through this and then used this one to base up on where it came down here and touched it. It's trying to figure out what it's doing. So last night, I had some sells in here that were manual stop losses, and I'm not totally sure of where I sold. So let's find out. So 10 hours ago at 38.8, and let's say about 38.5 or 38.6 total. Sorry, jumping all around. So I sold in this area. I'm fairly sure it was before this spike, and probably based on this breakdown is probably where those sells were. I may have sold on this candle. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's really this candle that, it says 10 hours ago, but it's at the top of 6 o'clock, and this candle is only 4 minutes old. So probably this candle. I saw it go, I saw it close below this line. So if I put in another line here, and you see the bottoms of these closes here, once it broke here, I was like, okay, it's probably a good time to sell. And I was actually probably not looking at the 1 hour chart. I was probably looking at a different chart like the 4 hour. No, probably not for making that sell. I'm not sure though. But with that being said, once this range was established, I'm looking for buys like all the way down here, and maybe trying to find other levels that might make sense of where a buy might be. Because this is a long wick candle, and it indicates to me that we need to figure out what the prices should be in here and just double check to make sure that we should be going up. So it'll test back down to see, okay, oh, well, it gets bought back even higher, right? First it got bought back here and shot up. Now this time it gets bought back here and shoots up, right? And continues to shoot up. So what I did in my sells, I sold at 38.8, and then I was able to buy back lower, and let's just say an average of 37. So if we look at that on the chart, uh, on the chart, so let me go back. No, I am on the hourly candles. Okay, so about right here, right? That was a 4 or 5% move that I could have just let ride out and let it go down and then come back up, and see I'd still be in the clear. Now, by not selling out, excuse me, by not selling out, I would have left myself more exposed to downside if it were to break down here. Well, I didn't really think that was going to happen. I sold here with the intention of buying a dip before, of getting buys in before this. And so I bought a couple of times on these candles as I was watching things play out. Maybe well, it looks like all of my buys were on this candle because this candle's too high for any of those buys. So I'll probably bought around this top or around this wick right here, and then I probably bought, I bought very close to this bottom, so I was probably looking at some levels that match up with this or something else, or maybe I was just watching the order book and was able to say, okay, this looks like it's turning around now, let me buy. But I know my buys were several minutes apart, so it was all emotional and sentiment based, and that's really not the best way to trade. But I really do feel like I'm getting a feel for this, and it's coming to me, and I'm making risks. Right, shouldn't necessarily be risking things the way that I am, But this thing is just screaming to the upside, and bull markets make everybody look like a genius. So um, comes down 4,000. I'm able to buy here, and now instead of, so if we looked at this from this percentage where I sold, right, from where I sold up to where we are now is a 5% gain, which, you know, the rest of my, I didn't sell out all of my position. I maybe sold out a third of it or a quarter to a third of it, and then looked to buy back lower. And some of that was risk mitigation. If it would have screamed through this and broke here, then I would have had cash on the side to buy back even lower, and potentially, instead of buying this dip, I would have sold even more, and then I'd have closer to 50% or 60% of my stack on the side to buy down lower all the way at 24 or something. But that's not what happened. So I'm playing the percentages, and as this goes up, now I've gone from a, you know, my typical 6% on the rest of my portfolio, and it's steadily just climbing as I'm sitting here looking at it. But I'm going from 6% on most of my portfolio to 11% on this last, you know, 25% to a third, 25 to 33% to a third of my last buy. So by selling at the top here, I put myself at risk if it went up too quickly and I wasn't able to buy again. But it worked out for me, right? So I'm mitigating risk, making sure I'm not putting myself at a bad position, and then also setting myself up with more opportunity to buy a dip and make an extra 6%. So again, this is just a follow-up on the last video that was explaining learn to sell. And this one is, you know, buying the dip and what that looks like. And, you know, this was a quick dip. Typically, I'd say don't play these quick dips as decisively as I did, especially until you're more used to looking at these charts a lot, seeing how the candles form and what indicators, etc. But this would be the same principle if you're looking on a daily chart, right? And you see this dip, you might be ready to sell this breakdown to buy down here. And right, we're looking at larger time frame candles, but the percentages are still similar. So if you get this breakdown from here on this candle, right, you have potential to buy up to 6% lower, right, which would increase your percentage. So from that, from this close right here up to here is 13%. But if you're able to buy on this dip, that's 20%. And so if you sell out a little bit up here and then buy lower, then you have gained. And I'm sure that's what I did. I sold here and I bought some all the way down in here, I believe. But it's much more reliable on the longer time frame. Just I wanted to get back in quickly here. I wasn't going to, even if I missed a dip, oops, on this one, even if I missed the dip, even if I missed the dip, I still would have bought back in above this breakout. So I would have a, you know, a 2% move so far or a 3% move so far, which wouldn't, and to be honest with you, I probably would have bought here once it broke above these. I mean, I probably would have bought right here if I was awake, right? I wouldn't have bought right there because I would have been sleeping because I, you know, just woke up about 30 minutes ago. But this is Bitcoin, and let me just follow up real quick on Ripple. And, you know, for you specifically, Tucker, Hal said that if you look at the XRP versus Bitcoin chart, that it's going down, and that's because Ripple is not moving up as quickly as Bitcoin. So if I go back real quick, you'll see that from this dip where I said, hey, Tucker, I wish I would have told you sold right here, right? From this dip that established this range, we broke down to the lowest point in the dip, didn't get all the way down to it, but then now we've broken the top and have set in a new all-time high. Okay, so it went up here, quick breakdown, played out the range, and then it proceeded to continue. This continuation, it continued beyond the prior resistance level, the prior level that was holding us down, right? You could say that this level is holding us down right here, and it broke above it. Now, let's see what XRP did, right? And Ethereum probably did better than XRP, might not even had that dip. No, it definitely had that dip because I consider buying Ethereum. But you see here, this one we have the same thing. The dip comes down, and instead of it being bought up before the dip, it went all the way below it, which is not to say a sign of weakness, but it's not as strong. And so it really establishes a downtrend on the hourly chart. So we have higher high. I'm sorry. Here's a high. Then we have a lower high. Then we have a lower high. Then we have a lower high. Kind of right. This is not the. I mean, it is though, because we have a lower low. So here's the low. Then we have a lower low. Then we have a lower low. So there was a quick downtrend here, and I guess that was. I mean, it didn't look the same on Bitcoin, but whatever the case may be, it's not broken above where it was yesterday morning. So like just about 24 hours ago, it was up here at 35 cents. Now it's down at 33, 34 cents. Meanwhile, Bitcoin at the same time yesterday was at, let's say at the max, right? Same time yesterday was at 40.3. And right now it's at 41. I mean, 0.3 or so. So from yesterday, the last top, Bitcoin has risen 2%. And it looks like Ripple, I can make this chart switch for me. It looks like Ripple is down 2% or thereabouts. Maybe a little bit less. It doesn't look like it's down 2%, but let's see. So from this top, down 5%. I'm sorry. So I thought it was down about the same amount. And if you did it off of the top of this, it's even more dramatic from where it is right now after a breakdown and getting bought back up. And now it's having trouble even getting above these spikes right here, these wicks. I think it probably will because I don't think Bitcoin's, well, Bitcoin's almost played out his whole move. Yeah, Bitcoin has hit its target. So I'm gonna, for me right now, I'm gonna be looking to consider selling again up here and looking for another dip buy. Let's see what the range is here. I may not, depending on what the percentage is. So 3% down. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna be looking at the the depth chart to help me make my decision in the order book or whatever, or I might just let this one ride because this is a temporary pullback target in my opinion, right? So see, it's already starting to pull back and went up there and hit 41.5. Now it may come down to here or it may come down to here. I will probably not sell out right now because I think, again, this is a short-term target. I think it's probably going to 45 today or over the weekend. And it's not worth it for me to sell out here and look for a buyback here when it may not make it down that low. And one of the other aspects is that every buy on Coinbase, for example, with my account size or whatever, every buy costs me 0.5% and every sell costs me 0.5%. So every trade costs me 1%. So I don't always just want to get back into cash with the chance of buying back lower. Though, if the percentage is great enough, I will. So that's enough on this one. Buy the dip, get back into cash when you can. Learn to sell at the top so that you can buy as this thing comes back down. It only works on something that is going to continue to go up. If you look at Ripple, its overall chart is down. So you are putting yourself in more risk than if you're buying something that's already going up. Something is going up and you're buying the dips. Something is going down and you're buying the dips. Those are two completely different things. If something is going down, then really you want to put your bets against it. Like you make money when it goes down. And then instead of buying the dips, you're selling the highs. So every time it comes up, you would sell, or not really sell. You're putting in an order that makes you money if the price goes down. So it's basically like it's the opposite of, or it's converse or something like that of selling. It's similar to it, but it's still a little bit different. So I'm gonna shut up. Let me know if you have any questions. Anybody who's watching my garbage, and of course you, Tucker. Talk to you again soon. Peace.